And I'd like you to welcome, a big Wolfpack welcome back to NC State's favorite author, Chen.
Go Wolfpacks! This is the way. This is the force, man. Yeah. I'm going to play bamboo flute for you. Not that I'm that good. I'm not that good at all. But my father taught me how to play this flute when I was a little boy growing up in the southern part of China, when there was nothing to do. There was no electricity there. There is no internet, no TV, no electricity. So therefore, Britney Spears doesn't happen. Yeah. Or Justin Timberlake. Yeah. So we resort to flute playing. My father, when I was 9 years old, my father one day took me. I wanted so much to play music, but we couldn't afford anything. So my father, being a wonderful father, he took me by my hand and go to our village's flute maker's store. And the flute maker was a funny-looking man. I do not know. I actually don't quite remember what he looked like, but it's just the memory is he was funny-looking. You know, the kind of guy, you walk by his store and he smiled at you without teeth, and you say, yeah, that's a funny guy. And he grew this fine knuckled bamboo in his backyard. Not big chunky ones that you use to build furniture, but fine knuckle ones like this. And then he cut them into nice sizes and hung them onto the ceiling for them to season. And the moment I walked into this place, it was purely magical, because all the flutes hanging from the ceiling were dancing and making all sort of music. And ever since then, my father bought me the cheapest one for 75 fen, which is probably equivalent of 10 cents, the smallest one. And ever since then, I've been playing. And no matter where I have traveled, all over the world, flute is always with me. And now I'm older, and my father has passed on. This has become the only tangible thing of my father's that I have. And this is, to remember him is, I encourage you all to thank your parents for having brought you guys along to this point. And now you are leaving them behind. So freedom. This is a piece that my father taught me. Thank you. You are welcome to close your eyes and follow me to China. Don't fall asleep. Thank you very much. Congratulations, you have arrived at a very important stage in life. And I'll tell you, as an old guy, life is actually like a river. You know, no matter how, I have looked at many great rivers of the world, and no rivers are straight. No matter, even though they know where they're going, they're heading for the ocean, but it always zigzags, and that is very much like life. We might think we know where we're going, but we don't know where we're going. And I think the only thing that matters is that the going part, you know, going, we are going. And it is really a great honor to be able to write and have my books published, and even bigger honor to be chosen by NC State. Go Wolfpack! You can't imagine how what a great honor it is for me. My mother, my father should be very proud of me this very moment, that for somebody, as a young boy, I was forbidden to speak. My First Amendment right was deprived of me, and this moment, standing right here, sharing my humble thoughts with you, it's a great moment for me, and it's actually a testament of humanity somewhat. I can stand here and say, you know, if I, that little boy, that poor boy from so beaten down by an entire dysfunctional society, could rise up and somehow manage to go where I go, every single one of you can. And every single one of you should be able to go far. There is always in terms of career choices, people always say, you know, how did you eventually become a writer? And I think now, when I look back, there was a particular point in my life that really destined me to be what I want to be. That was our family. My great-grandfather worked, Chen, worked for generations to own about 60% of our village called Yellowstone, and then in 1949, when the communist Red Army came, taking over entire China, they came to our town, and a particular general pointed a pistol at my grandfather's head and said, "Give me all your deeds, or I'm going to kill you." My grandfather had no choice. He turned the deeds to the land to the Red Army general. He was smart. My grandmother's three brothers were not so smart. They resist, and the same general shot the three brothers dead within seconds. Their blood reddening the floor of their house. And ever since then, our family has been condemned. They took the land, but the communist government regime didn't treat us as they promised they would. They said, "We're going to take your land, and now you become a just proletarian, someone who owns no land, and you'll be treated equal." But they weren't treating us equal. We were isolated, and my grandfather and my father they became sort of political athletes. Whenever there's a political movement, which they had many, my grandfather and my father would be taken out to suffer, walk this humiliation parade. And that's when I came to be. And when I was born, the Cultural Revolution was at its height. It was just growing. I was sort of growing with the Cultural Revolution, which started in 1965. I was born in 62. So we were growing up during the revolution. And as a young boy, you didn't know what was political. All you knew was you were born. Therefore, you own the world. Like any other kid, you think you deserve this and that. But what I saw wasn't to be so. I've seen my grandfather getting beaten up in the street, coming back, and I couldn't understand that because in our culture, the older you are, the more revered you were. But my grandfather would come back with a broken nose, and I couldn't understand that. That was beyond me. There was a political thing going on. But that particular day, I was playing in the street, and our street was, we have nothing going on. We have no entertainment whatsoever. And whenever, for the kids that I was, we are still curious. Our minds need to be satisfied. So I was playing in the street, and someone shouted, "Oh, there's a lot of fun to be had. There's something happening in the Commune's headquarters." And the Commune's headquarters was one of the two churches that American missionaries built in 1920s. But after the communist government took over, they transformed the churches into Commune's headquarters. And so when somebody shouted fun at Communist headquarters, we'd run. I was quickest and ran to the church, and I climbed up all the way to the top of the church, the dome roof, and looking through the windows, broken windows. And there was an adult being hung by both thumbs to the ceiling, his feet barely touching the floor. And 5 young militiamen were beating the heck out of this guy. And I don't know whether you have ever heard of an adult really crying from the guts. And this guy was crying, and he was begging for his life. And the Communist party chief was smoking, and he said, "Yeah, beat him some more. He's a bad guy." And as a kid, you're looking through the window, and everybody was laughing. You know that you're not supposed to be laughing because something was wrong there, and yet you laughed because everybody else laughed. And then, as this beating was going on, the rope swiveled over, and then I saw my father's face. And that was and then the kids were pointing the finger at me, saying, "Yay, your dad was a bad guy." And I just remember slowly climbing down like a little spider, very ashamed. There was a moment when I was suddenly attacked by this anxiety of shame, humiliation, and 1,000 more things all at the same time. And I was so ashamed that I actually walked home by the shady side of the street rather than the sunny side of the street. I was running home to my mother, who is a petite woman, didn't know what to do else. And I told mother what happened. And all she knew to do was asking me to go with her to go to our attic to pray to Buddha. We had a broken Buddha statue hidden behind our attic window. During that time, during the revolution, no religion was allowed. The only God that you are allowed to worship is Chairman Mao. And I think that day, my mother's prayer must be answered. My father didn't die. They didn't beat him to death. And the reason why he was taken to be beaten was because that morning he had received a letter from my uncle who had been living in Taiwan. And Taiwan was an ally of USA. And if you received a letter from an ally of USA, therefore you are a spy from USA. And that was how the politics work. And that was the day, the little dog that I was, right in the middle of the street, I became an adult. I became a man. I began to worry about my parents. I thought I was much stronger than they were, that they couldn't fend for themselves, but I could. I was a little guy, I was scrawny, and that was the day. Now that I look back, when I look back, I think this is the day, the moment that decides my fate, that wanting to write, because even as we speak, there are so many little Da Chens of the world going through what I went through, or even more tragic. And these voices has to be heard. And it has become much more important than the thing that I was trained to do, to be a lawyer or a banker. I'll leave that to the really good lawyers. I wasn't that good a lawyer, by the way, to begin with. I hated paperwork. But you know, my childhood was not all bad at all. In that lack of entertainment, we tried to find something else. I always remember during the Chinese Spring Festival, which is Chinese New Year, and we'll be given a little bit of money, less than $1. That was called, and put it in a red envelope. This is our parents. They don't give us gifts. They give you money in coins, believing that these heavy coins will weigh you down. The babies weigh you down so that you'll not be taken away by all those winged angels. So that's the tradition. And as soon as we took the money, the idea that came to my mind was, let's go see a movie. But we didn't have electricity, therefore a movie doesn't happen in our village. But it happens in a place that takes 3 hours to walk to. 3 hours to walk to. And we're skinny, you know, little country boys. We have to go see the movie because otherwise we will die. That's how curious we are. And I was probably rather funny looking. I had a very big head. And I was very skinny, you know, starving all the time. And there were occasions where we only ate one meal because typhoon had taken away our season of rice. And my mother always asked me, you know, don't run around too much because you're going to get skinnier, and then you're going to die. But even though, you know, you're skinny, you're scrawny, you know, big-headed country boy, you still want to see movies. And those movies were not Hollywood blockbusters at that time. Those movies were black and white revolutionary movies. And this particular one that we had to see was called Communist Nurse from Shanghai. It was, at that time, the raciest movie we had. And there was a guy who rides bicycle to Putian, the town of Putian, 3 hours away. He told us in his very graphic, he said that that nurse was very beautiful. And we say, yes, we skinny boys, we have to go see the beautiful girl. And because we're so ugly. We're so, you know, our skin were like, you know, like decorative pumpkins. And the lizard. And we're smelly all at the same time. No shower. But we have to see beautiful girls. That is inevitable. So but we are very afraid of big cities. 3 hours away walking, we're not afraid. But we're afraid of big cities. So the little village boys, we got together and we start running. We try to cut down on the time to get there. And when we got there, 5 of us, 6 of us, we always seem to see the same ticket lady. You know, there's a lady who leaned over a window and seemed to be smoking the same cigarette every year that we went there. It almost seems like the same cigarette that he'd been smoking. She has been smoking from last year, and she has this raspy voice, and she said, "You guys are late again." And then we start punching each other because we are so ugly. Yes. There's one of my friends. I love punching him, and he loves punching me. Yeah. He thinks I'm uglier than he is. And the ticket lady was really and we would say, "Oh, please, can we please buy the standing tickets?" She said, "No. We saw the standing tickets before we saw the seating tickets," and we said, "Well, can we maybe get a window ticket?" There were a lot of windows, and there's a huge hall on the side. And if you get a window ticket, you can hold on to the window ledges and get a very good view that way. She said, "Well, we saw that before the standing ticket." So, and then we start another round of punching each other because after 3 hours of running, are you kidding me? We missed the movie. And then the lady, ticket lady got so sympathetic. She said, you know what, give me half of the ticket price and I'll let you in to see from the back of the stage. And we got so happy. So she took us through the movie theater. The movie theater was so very crowded that people were slapping us as we walk around. And by the time, and this place was, here in America, you go to a movie theater, you eat popcorns. My son, not long ago, taught me how to eat popcorns in the right way. He said, you go there, go to the movie theater, you buy spend $1,000, buy a popcorn, and then another $2,000, buy some M&M, peanut M&M. And what you do is, my son is 10 years old. He's a skinny Chinese boy. Yeah. And he said, you get a handful of popcorns, stuff into your mouth, and then you follow it with another handful of M&M. And I actually tried that, and it exploded in my mouth. It makes Tom Cruise look good on. And then, so my son, you could probably relate to this. My son has he's 10, and he thinks he's Yao Ming. So he would love to be standing right here watching Wolfpack, all sort of things. He'll get so excited because he thinks, one day he'll tell me, he said, I'm going to be a wide receiver. I don't even know what wide receiver is. He said, the guy running fast, I'm pretty fast and skinny. And I said, well, I don't think so. Name one Chinese football player. He said, oh, okay, all right. How about basketball? Yao Ming. So he's always stick Yao Ming to me. And he has, if you check YouTube, he has this thing, he's called NC Chen, Jam It, something. He does this thing called a soldier boy. Superman, yes. NC State, all of you are Superman, yeah. Soldier boy, Superman. He has this baseball cap this way, and he was doing this every day, yeah. Superman, yes. Soldier boy, I love it. I thought it was a contemporary temple, yeah. Love it. Yeah. So we went to the back of the stage. People were smoking away, and this lady took us to the back of the stage. And we are now literally behind the silver screen. And in between two very loud, big cores, communist loudspeakers, which were jarring with your, beating at your eardrums. And we're watching, and when you are so close to and behind, you're watching this movie from behind, and everybody seemed left-handed, and because of smoke and the loud noise, it's a little dizzy. And we were actually, at the beginning, it was takes a little getting used to, and then soon, the magic of motion picture took over, and we were enjoying ourselves. And I tell you, that communist nurse from Shanghai, boy, she was beautiful, yes. And we were right there under under her skirt most of the time. Watching, check out the DVD, yeah. It's a black and white picture, communist nurse from Shanghai. And that was, then we are fixed for the year. Then we go home feeling really good. Still ugly, but feeling good. Yeah. Well, I think you guys are really blessed for two reasons. On a human level, you guys are already major winners. You know, I know that you say, yeah, that's a cliche, everybody's a winner, yeah. We live in everybody's in a winner country. No, I'm talking about biology, I'm talking about truth, which is, can you imagine, you know that before you were born, you know, you were swimming with 1 million of these tadpoles of guys inside your mother's belly or whatever. You were swimming. You don't even know you are swimming. You don't even know you are competing with millions of these guys. You don't know. And you're lucky you're not swimming in the wrong way. You were swimming and you're swimming and you all are Michael Phelps. So if any of you say to yourself, you know what, I'm just Jane, I'm Mike from North Carolina, I'm going to go there and smack you guys. Because you are one, every single one of you is an incredible human being. The other day I was speaking in another college and they asked me, one of the students, they prompted me to think of this point, asked me, Da, what is the biggest achievement you ever had? And I thought very briefly, and that day, lightning of truth hit me. The biggest achievement, ladies and gentlemen, is that you are born. It is that simple. All the rest that we are doing is celebration lap. We're going about, I'm born, man, I'm born, I'm walking around. So that greatly relieved a burden on myself. Because I always thought, you know what, I have this, as many of you will have. A group of you will have a great man, great woman mentality. You always have to achieve. You always have to get A's and A pluses. And there's another group who is thinking of themselves as nobody. There are only two groups of people. Stop thinking that way. Because once you understand the meaning of life, the meaning of life is, man, we made it. We are born, now we are celebrating life. Living is celebration. So don't feel anxious when you don't achieve this or that. I'm not asking you to be losers, of course. But if you don't, if you make it to A, don't fret that Joe gets A+. You don't. It's all right. You have already done the greatest thing. Being alive is the greatest thing. Secondly, on second level, you are born, you're swimming, right? You're going and going. You don't even know where you're swimming. You don't even know you exist. Total darkness, man. Total darkness. And you managed to swim into the belly of an American mother. Right? You could end up in Turkey. Nothing wrong with Turkey, okay? I'm just saying that, geographically speaking, you could be swimming or Ethiopia. You'll make a great runner, though. But it's a poor country, let's face it, right? You could be out there and then soon you'll be Chen, big-headed and skinny, right? Or you could be born in the southern part of China. Or whatever, but you are born. You guys are so lucky. You're born, come here, you're born into, I'm American, son, I'm American. So congratulations. And my point is this. You are not just, and I don't want you to think or say this ever again, that I'm just Joe from North Carolina or Jane from Asheville. Okay, you are not. You are actually the prince and princesses of the greatest country in the world and world history. Why? Because you eat the best food in the world. People in Africa don't worry about dieting, man. They don't. They don't want to eat vegetables. Give me a drumstick. Give me a drumstick when I was a little boy. I don't want to eat vegetables. I don't need to go on dieting. You know, I'm not fat enough. I want to be fat. When I was a child, the fattest man in our village was the richest man. He was the Communist Party chief. He was very corrupted. He had stolen a lot of meat from the commune's slaughterhouse. I'm not joking. He is very, very prominent, you know. And we always admire his belly. Secondly, you wear the best clothes in the world. I mean, the very fact that you go to a grocery store, there is grapes from this tiny to this big. Each time I go to the grocery store with my children, I always tell them these are the food for the kings and queens 100 years ago. Not just grapes. You want seedless grapes. Not just seedless grapes. You want organic seedless grape. Do you know what goes into organic food? Manures. I knew it because we used to grow organic food in China when we couldn't afford chemical fertilizer. I used to water the vegetables with human manures. I knew. So when my wife, who's a physician, took me to the organic store, and she said, we should get organic. I said, yeah, you get it. And you also wear the best clothes in the world. You do. You know, I know, you know, Abercrombie and Hollister's, right? You have to wear Nike sneakers. You know what? As far as I'm concerned, you guys are more than old enough to work in a sweatshop somewhere, 18 hours a day, making 27 pennies an hour, making those sneakers rather than wearing those sneakers. Have you ever thought about that? You could very well be out there doing that, but you're not. Congratulations, you're wearing that. You want this color, you want that color, you want Air Jordan, you want whatever. Because I am the prince and princess of the world. And you know what? It is fine with that. Then in any given time, any given given historical period, there is always this and that. But I want you guys to do this one thing, and that is to never say to yourself that I want to make a living. You want to say to yourself, I want to change the world. That you are totally capable of, because you are receiving the best education, eating the best food, wearing the best shoes in the world, and therefore you are capable of doing the best for this world and doing the best to help those who don't have sneakers to wear, who don't have the colleges to go to so freely as you can. You know, even as we speak, hundreds of millions of children don't have elementary school to go to. You guys ease through this, no problem. School buses, school lunches, you complain about your smelly bathrooms, but you sail through that without thinking about it. So to the world, give your best. By doing so, you will make yourself even better. And that is the meaning of your life. I thank you very much. Go Wolfpacks!